We have seen that for various angles, the trigonometric functions take real number values. As real numbers are positive as well as negative, the trigonometric functions take positive as well as negative values. Did you notice whether the value of a trigonometric function may be negative for a positive angle or positive for a negative angle? Is there any pattern which might help us to find whether a trigonometric function is positive or negative for a given angle? We know that the values of the trigonometric functions, sine and cosine, can be obtained by taking points on the unit circle. And the coordinates of a point are positive or negative based on the quadrant it lies in. So, the signs of the trigonometric functions, sine and cosine, vary according to the y and x coordinates of the point P in the four quadrants of the coordinate plane. The signs of other trigonometric functions can be verified using the sine and cosine functions. Let's explore the trigonometric functions in the four quadrants in detail. Let's look at the signs of the trigonometric functions in all the quadrants. First, we will check the signs of the sine and cosine functions, and then we check for the other trigonometric functions with the help of sine and cosine using the relation between trigonometric ratios. In the first quadrant, both the x and y coordinates of the point P are positive. Hence, the values of sine and cosine functions are positive in the first quadrant. Since sine and cosine are both positive, tan is also positive in the first quadrant. Therefore, in the first quadrant, that is, for angles ranging from 0 to 90 degrees, all the trigonometric functions are positive. Next, in the second quadrant, the y-coordinate of the point P is positive and the x-coordinate is negative. Hence, the value of the sine function is positive and the value of the cosine function is negative. Since sine is positive and cosine is negative, the values of the tangent function, the cotangent function, and the secant function are negative, while the value of the cosecant function is positive in the second quadrant. Therefore, in quadrant 2, sine function is positive, cos and tan are negative. Hence, for angles ranging from 90 degrees to 180 degrees, sine is positive and cos and tan are negative. Moving on to the third quadrant, both x and y coordinates of point P are negative. Hence, the values of the sine and cosine functions are negative in the third quadrant. Here, since both sine and cosine are negative, the value of the tangent function is positive in the third quadrant. Therefore, in the third quadrant, that is, for angles ranging from 180 degrees to 270 degrees, tan is positive and sine and cos are negative. Similarly, if the point P lies in the fourth quadrant, the y-coordinate is negative and the x-coordinate is positive. Hence, the value of the sine function is negative and the value of the cosine function is positive. As sine is negative and cos is positive, the value of the tangent function is negative in the fourth quadrant. Therefore, in the fourth quadrant, that is, for angles greater than 270 degrees and less than 360 degrees, cos is positive and sine and tan functions are negative. Let's quickly summarize this. In the first quadrant, sine, cos and tan functions are positive. In the second quadrant, sine is positive. In the third quadrant, tan is positive. And in the fourth quadrant, cos is positive. all silver teacups, all school to college, add sugar to coffee, etc. The first letter of each will give us the functions which are positive in which quadrant. We can also check the signs of the trigonometric functions for the negative angles. Angles smaller than 0 degrees and greater than minus 90 degrees belong to the fourth quadrant. So, for the range minus 90 to 0, cos is positive. Angles smaller than minus 90 degrees and greater than minus 180 degrees belong to the third quadrant. So, for the range 180 to 90, tangent is positive. Angles smaller than minus 180 degrees or minus pi radians and greater than minus 270 degrees or minus 3 pi over 2 radians belong to the second quadrant. So, for the range minus 270 to minus 180, only sine and cosecant are positive. Angles smaller than minus 270 degrees and greater than minus 360 degrees belong to the first quadrant. So, for the range minus 360 to minus 270, sine, cos and tan functions are positive.